Hello and welcome to Butterfly Journeys Midlife Adventures, where we share real stories of travel, transformation and new beginnings. I'm your host, Joanna Filmer, and I want you to know that midlife is our time to step beyond expectations and to use travel or even a relocation as a powerful tool for rediscovery and reinvention.
Hey, soul
Let's
sister,
go.
I heard you made another man cry, but don't worry, baby.
Hey, good morning, Maria. Well, good morning from here. Whereabouts are you today? What's the time over there?
I am in Minnesota in the U.S., and it is about 6 p.m.
Okay. Is it cold? Because it's
It's
hot here today.
oh, it's very cold. And actually, it's warm for what it's been. We've been as low as like 20 below Fahrenheit here in the last couple weeks.
Thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
on. I'm so happy to kind of talk to you and hear about your story and share your story as well, because it's quite an unusual one, I think. I hadn't heard of what it is that the service that you're offering. So we'll kind of get into that. But tell me, what kind of sparked your love of travel? Because you told me that you'd worked for 24 years in your profession. What happened? What made you feel like something needed to change, but you wasn't quite sure what that was? And how was travel a part of that?
Sure. Well, in 2020, I was diagnosed with congestive heart failure. And I just thought, I really want to, there's so many things I want to see and do. And I, I had to figure out how I could do that. And I did some while I was working in my career. I did a medical mission trip, got to, experience that. I've noticed that I wasn't able to get the vacation time I wanted. I wasn't happy in my career at the time. So I was just it took me about 4 years to figure out what I could do different. But travel just was something that I've always loved since I was a kid. And it's just so special. I love those experiences. I'm so happy when I'm traveling.
Yeah, I completely get you. And I would imagine there's probably people that will listen and kind of understand that. I think you get to this point in midlife where you start to reassess everything and what it is and what you're doing. So it took you 4 years to kind of think about what it is that you wanted to change or how you were going to do it. So what happened along that kind of pathway, and then how did you get to where you kind of are now, sort of thing?
Sure. Initially, I just really wanted to get out of where I was, my job. So I was looking at going into like an industry job. And one time I was doing an interview for this industry position where I would like work with the echo machines and whatnot. And I said, all the people that I kind of started with, my initial family at work, have moved on. And I feel like it's my time to move on too. And it just kind of, he said, well, that's a reason to leave your job, but that's not a reason to take this job. And I just sat there for a second. I almost thought about just saying, you know what, you're right. And I just about got up and walked out because I realized he was so right. I didn't want to be doing what the job I was interviewing was. I wanted to be free, and that wasn't going to give me that. So I found a woman that has been doing this travel companion for about a decade and took a course from her and kind of didn't look back.
And how did you see that? Because I'd never really heard of it. I mean, I guess it's just not something that you hear about. Did you see an article on her, or, and why did you think that's going to suit me? What is it that drew you towards that? To leave your security of your job and move towards the insecurity of not knowing where it's going to go. Where is it that you'd first heard about this role as being a travel companion? Because it's not something I'd heard of really as a profession anyway.
Sure. I was just kind of scrolling on my phone one night and thinking about what I enjoy. And I used to do group tickets for groups of women. We would go to see Broadway shows when they would come to Minneapolis, and I'd have like 20 people, and we'd go out to dinner first, and I'd hand out the tickets right right after dinner, and we'd all go and enjoy the show. And, now, it's been 15, 20 years since I did that. Now we're old enough and our kids are grown, and maybe we have enough money to do a New York trip. So I kind of started thinking about that. And slowly I just kind of was like, well, I could take women that haven't, I'm comfortable in New York. It's a scary place if you haven't been there. It's,
Oh,
so, and then I just kind of was like, well, I could bring older people places. And I just found her that way, just as I
right.
was like brainstorming.
Mm,
And yeah, it's been such a trip. I'm so happy that I did it. It was scary to make that change, but I knew that I needed to do something because everything in my life was falling apart. I was so unhappy in it that I needed this change.
mm. It's I think when that starts to come in, it's a question, isn't it? And it's like a feeling almost, and and it becomes something that you can't ignore anymore. So for you to take the trips and that, I guess what you did was what you just said to me was you kind of put everything together. You was really thinking about what it is that you was going to enjoy, and obviously you working the care industry and couple that with your passion for travel. That would have been the good combo, an amazing combo. How did you deal with the crossover between the security of leaving your job that you'd been in for 24 years to the insecurity of what was the unknown, basically?
Yeah, I really had to think about that. I did do my first trip before I fully left my profession or my job at in ultrasound. I then made sure that I timed everything out so that I would end my job. So, right, my husband's health insurance starts in September. So I worked April or August 1st. I got my insurance through the month of August, and then I was put on my husband's insurance. So I made sure that I was thinking about those things.
Mm,
I It was difficult to kind of jump away from that every other week paycheck, but
mm,
just tried to make sure that when I did leave that I had everything kind of all my ducks in a row, a little bit of savings so that I could, move forward. And it we've had lean times, but
mm,
we're happier, which is
mm.
priceless.
Yeah, absolutely. Sent a peace of mind and happiness that comes with it. So what can you remember the feeling when you left your job the day you kind of walked out?
It was great. I mean, I was sad too. I loved those people. I mean, they're
Mm,
just, and I'm still in contact with a number of them. They're great, the people that I worked with, and yet I couldn't stay. Um, it it was sad, but I felt a great sense of relief. A fear of the unknown. It was everything. It was a little
mm.
bit of everything. But yeah, no regrets.
Yeah, no regrets. And that's actually something that has always been is a good motto to have. It's one of my mottos, no regrets, because you can just keep trying. And I love that you've jumped into the unknown and with the fear that comes with that, but you've still been brave enough and courageous enough to say that's not serving me anymore. I need to be doing something new for me. So what was the first job that you did when you went on the role? Maybe tell us a little bit about the role as a travel companion and your first experience in that role.
Sure. So I travel with people who are unable to travel independently for a multitude of reasons, whether it's dementia, physical issues, uh, vision issues, whatever that might be. So the first little trip I took was picking up a 90-year-old woman. I'd had to drive from Minnesota to Illinois, pick her up from her nursing home, and drive her to Iowa, where she had a family reunion on Saturday, the day I picked her up. And then the next day, her church was having its 100-year celebration. So she was able to, see this extended family, meet some great grandkids that she hadn't met before. And it was a great experience. It was eye-opening because it wasn't easy, and she really wasn't as mobile as I thought she was. So fortunately, I had family there there to help me with transfers and stuff like that. But I just stood there in the midst of this difficult situation and I said, would I rather be at my other job? And I said, no, I'd rather be here figuring this out. So it was great. And I'm still contact with the daughter-in-law who we stayed the night at her house. It's yeah, every trip I take, I'm family, they're like family. It's amazing. And even it was only we were there like one day, and I feel like I'd known her daughter-in-law for years. Just because it was such an intense 24 hours.
I bet because it was I guess your first role as well, but it's a
Yeah.
real intimate connection that you forge with someone then in this role. So it's a real caring, real kind of personal caring role as well. So what kind of other travel have you been doing then? Because travel is obviously a part of this and it's a part of something that you love as well. So is it mostly domestic or are you traveling internationally as well?
I am traveling internationally as well. Yes, my second job was escorting a woman from Minneapolis to Naples, Italy. So that was wonderful. Uh,
Mm.
so I've been able to go to Naples. I've been to Rome. I've been to Ireland. I've been to Mexico, and then I've done a few in the States, like California, Florida, Vegas. So I've kind of been all over. What I have coming up is a cruise in the Caribbean. Um, so that should be fun. Potentially a trip. I'm going to speak with somebody about a trip to Paris in September. So yeah, I definitely I love international. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. You said something when we spoke before, because you just did a TV interview, which was, I was lucky enough to watch that as well. You said to me, I asked you if you'd had many kind of inquiries, what the responses had been. And you said to me that there's been more people asking you about how you've come into this service rather than the service that you're offering, has that surprised you? Why do you think people are asking you those questions?
Well, I mean, I think people think that what I'm doing is getting a free vacation.
Right.
so,
Yeah. Please
and
tell
and
us
it's
how it is really in reality.
it's not easy. It's hard work. I loved being in Ireland, but my client walked quite slow. She was visually impaired. She was 86. So walking through towns that are, the parking, she could walk distances, but it would take us forever to get there. I didn't get to look around or take pictures because I was her eyes.
Mm. Interesting, isn't it? So there's a lot of growth going on for you. So in this process, how do you feel? What's changed within you, and what is it that's grown within you that was different from before that maybe wasn't able to be revealed? It's just you've given yourself more space. What do you think's changed for you?
I just think that overall I'm happier and I can see the positives in life. Like I find myself more so when I'm traveling, but just more so since I left my job, I am so complimentary to people.
Mm.
I make a point of if I see it, say it.
Mm.
So I just feel like I'm more open to humans and just friendlier. I mean, I've always been friendly, but
Mm.
just I don't know. I like to connect with people, make sure that they feel good. I don't have to do that. I want to. It makes me feel good. It makes them feel good. I don't know why, but that's just kind of one of the biggest changes I've noticed.
That's a really interesting observation. I understand that completely because you have more time for yourself and then you have more time for others because you have more energy, I guess, to give.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. Who, through this whole process, because it's quite a transition, um, who's been the most supportive in this space for you when things have been really quite difficult for you?
I'm going to say my mom and dad.
Mm.
I mean, my husband's been supportive too, but my parents really knew that I needed to get out of there. And I think for my husband, it was a little bit more of the fear of the financial, and that wasn't affecting my parents. So they were able to
Mm.
be, um, uh, they just really were cheerleaders. And when I kind of, even a couple weeks ago, I was thinking, oh, I just don't have anything in January right now. And I was feeling bad. And I just called my mom and I'm like, Mom, you need to tell you need to tell me why I'm doing this and tell me that I'm doing a good job. And she just points it all out. I mean, I just started my business like a year and a half ago, and
Yeah.
I did do like 10 trips last year. That's impressive.
Yeah.
I'm doing the best I can, and I yeah, it's scary. It is scary. I never thought I would leave a job without having a job,
Mm.
and I did it.
Absolutely. And you did it, and it's proof for other people or other women that are sitting listening to this that they can also know that it's possible. It's taking that first step. What was the reaction of your family when you said to them that this was what you was going to choose to do? Because at that point in midlife, there's that awful word midlife crisis, which I just will not use. I don't think it's a crisis at all. But what was their reaction? Did they think that you were having that kind of like midlife moment, or were they just fully supportive?
They were fully supportive. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think everybody could see that I had tried really hard to maintain where I was, and it wasn't working.
Mm.
So, I mean, I would point out that I had a lot of positives about my job. I worked
Mm.
Monday through Thursday, 7 to 3:30. I mean, no weekends, no evenings, which isn't very common when you're working in a hospital because somebody had to take call. And
Yeah.
I didn't have to because I'd been there so long. Like, I just had it made, but I
Mm.
wasn't happy. Like,
Mm.
I tried really hard to be, but this is just so much better. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just taking that leap. That what would you say was the first step? Can you remember? Was there a point where you was just like, "This is it. I'm going to do it." And what was that first step?
Well, I think it started with that interview.
Yes.
Um, and then I took the course, and I just there was a day, and I don't remember what exactly happened at work, but something happened, and I was just like, no, I got to get out of here. It was in June, and I then just wrote up my my resignation and sent it to my manager. And then when I got home, I told my husband I did it. So maybe not how it should have happened, but I mean, I'd been talking about leaving for a while, so he knew that was in my head. It's not like I just like sprung it on him, but
Yeah.
it still should have been a conversation.
A
Yeah.
small step, but a huge step. Can you remember when you hit send on that email?
For some reason, I walked outside. It was summer, and I met up with a couple of gals that worked in the office that I don't see, and I was kind of teary, but at the same time, there was a relief in my chest too. But it was like I had the entirety of my kids' lives. I've been working at that hospital. They were my family, and it was. But yeah, I hit send, and it
Yeah.
was good. A lot
Yeah.
of my friends there were very supportive as well.
Yeah, I think it's interesting for you to say that you were happy in your job and everything was good. So, because I think often there's this idea that things are awful or, that it's not working. And that's not always the case. It's just an inner truth that starts to grow, that you just know that there's change that's needed. So do you think you've learned about your own capacity? For emotionally and physically, as you've traveled on this new journey, because you've had your own personal health journey as well. So what have been the learnings for you about who you are as a person in this new space? Okay, what do you think that you've learned most about yourself and your capacity for change and resilience with all of these different things that have happened to you, and your own health journey as well? So you've been on quite a journey. What have you learned most about yourself emotionally and physically, do you think?
I guess I've learned to have a little bit of patience with myself. I It's it has been a journey, and I ended up having 2 of my heart valves replaced last August. So that was a big moment,
Mm,
obviously, and then I had the 3 months of recovery after that. It's there's I can do anything. That's what I mean, I just know that I'm gonna fight through it, and I'm gonna get there. And it was tough recovering from that surgery, and in the same time, it doesn't feel like it was just August. It feels like it was 2 years ago. I just feel great,
mm,
and hardly remember how it felt before my surgery, because I've just
mm,
embraced life since then.
mm.
Um, so yeah, I guess I've seen my strength
Yeah.
more and more.
Yeah. What's been one of your most challenging moments, do you think, in this change in this process?
I For me, I feel like it's just marketing.
Mm,
It's tough for me to figure out how to do that kind of stuff. I've and technology. Like, I'm great with like airport technology, tickets on my phone, but you try and somebody wants to Zoom call me or something, they have to set it up.
So it's
Uh,
new challenges of learning in the tech space, which is, I imagine, for people listening, that too would be something that they worry about. And I'm seeing it around me as well. I've got lots of different friends that are doing new things and learning new technology. How have you overcome that? So you all ask for support. That's what you just said.
yeah, I need help, and I've been like, I let other people do it. Um I'm working on it. I have very techie family, so that's
That's helpful, definitely. So what's do you think if there was someone who was sitting listening to what we're talking about here, and she's feeling stuck and she's sitting in that point where you were, what kind of advice would you give to that person who's really quite not sure what they want to do next?
I would say take some time to really look at what it is that you love about life,
Mm,
and see if you can incorporate that somehow into a business, or at least into your life. Whether that's I don't know. I always tell my clients, or when I'm talking to a group of seniors, do what you love, no matter how you have to modify it. If
mm,
maybe you can't be gardening anymore, then get a raised box and grow just a few things, or try to just grasp. We got one role here. We got one
mm.
shot at it, and I want to feel like I lived it to my best. And this is it. I'm doing it. I'm very proud of myself. And again, I get nervous about money, but it's working. It's working, and I'll get there.
Yeah, it's having self-belief, and that has grown, do you feel, as you've gone on the journey?
It definitely. I mean, I have my days.
Hmm.
Like I said, I called mom a couple of weeks ago, but for the most part, yeah, it's been eye-opening that I could do that. I literally never in my life would have pictured myself self-employed. That's just
Yeah.
nothing I ever saw in my future.
Yeah,
And here
I
I
think
am.
many people are scared by that idea of self-employment because it is takes away all of the safety net, doesn't it? And stepping into a space without a safety net can be a real challenge and very scary. But I like what you said there about the balance between money and happiness.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
it's finding the balance between the two. So for you now, like freedom and fulfillment, Has that how does that look different to where you were when you was inside of your medical career?
Well, I mean, so with my travels that I do, I'm getting mileage, or I've been able to travel on my own travels as well as my client travels.
Okay.
That I would have never had the vacation time allowed to do such things. I had enough miles to go to Morocco in December, so my brother and I went to Morocco for 5 days, and he doesn't live by me. So I got to have my brother to myself for 5 days in Morocco, where we'd never been before. So in a couple weeks, I'm going with my sister and my niece to Florence, and then we're taking a train to Naples. And so, obviously I somehow have some funds to do the things that I love. I'm managing to do it. So it's been great. Just I love that I can make those connections, make those memories with my brother, with my sister, with my niece. I'm going with my parents to visit my brother in Atlanta in March. I mean, it's so freeing to know that I can do that, and that when I get home, I don't have to go to work the next day. I mean,
Um,
because what I do isn't work. If I have a
mm,
trip the next day, I'm thrilled. I'm excited.
yeah. Yeah. How exciting. What so many changes, so many positives have come out of you just hitting send on that email. Obviously, there's the discussion and the thought and everything that comes before it, but just to take that one step to say no and to know that you've come through it and it's still growing and you're still learning and you have your freedom.
Yeah.
Where do you see or where would you like this to move towards, do you think? Like, how do you see the journey kind of panning out?
I really just would love it if I had a couple client trips every month and had the time to do my own travels as well.
Mm,
I love to be able to choose where I go and enjoy where I'm at as well. Not that I don't enjoy with them, and I love that I'm able to provide them with that experience. The
mm,
gentleman I took to see the twins at spring training camp was like a developmentally delayed senior gentleman, really awesome guy. And it was just such a wonderful experience to take him there and see his joy at the ball field. And I just yeah. I guess what I'm saying is I just want to keep doing what I'm doing, and I don't see an end. I don't want to, retire at 65.
mm,
I'll just keep doing this as long as I can keep doing this. This
mm.
is what I want to be doing.
Mm. Has your mindset around retirement changed since this shift in your life? Mm.
Definitely, definitely.
Mm.
I mean, I was counting down, like I just
Mm.
wanted to be. I don't know. You've got this huge pool of money somewhere that I can't touch.
Mm. Yeah.
Because you save for retirement. And it's just like, oh my goodness. And I just was so unhappy. And I just wanted to be traveling while I was healthy enough to travel, especially given my heart failure diagnosis. And now I'm feeling great. I no longer considered as having heart failure with my new heart valves. And I'm I'm doing what I love. Yeah.
You are. I mean, it's such a beautiful story. So many, I hope women will listen to this and feel inspired if they're sitting in that same position of where you were and to where you've come now. So if you could give your younger self, going back a few years, a message at that
Hmm.
point when you first started to think about this change that you felt, what would you say to her?
Gosh, I would say you can do it, and it doesn't have to look like what you think it has to look like. It doesn't have to be a 9 to 5 job, paycheck every 2 weeks. You can do it. It can be on your own terms. It'll be scary, but you've got this.
Yeah. Yeah. Taking that first step is that truth towards yourself as well. Maria, thank you so much for your time. It's such a wonderful story and a story of bravery and courageousness in midlife to say, this is not serving me and I'm going to change. And I think it's beautiful what it is that you've moved into and how you're helping others. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.